brother! Kiss me again, sweet brother. You've spared the precious Nurse Crane, but not your own Mary. Rest in peace, monster. You give me your blood, priest. Final thoughts are just to Abomination! What have you done? Assassin! Come to me, Jonathan. Rest in peace, monster. Kingslayer! Kneel like a dog, just as you did to Sean. Come to me, Jonathan. to rot in this grave! Kid Red! Spared the precious nurse Crane, but not your own Mary. Come. Abomination. Give me your blood, priest. Final thoughts are just to die for. Kiss me again, sweet brother.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
In the name of Christ!
Assassin! Kiss me again, sweet brother. You've spared the precious Nurse Crane, but not your own Mary. What have you done? Give me your blood, priest. Final thoughts are just to die for. You've killed me, brother! Come. Rest in peace. What have you done? You are kneel like God. Kiss me again. Kinslayer!
I have this thirst for blood.
It's one of them! help me!
Assassin! Come to me, Jonathan. You've spared the precious nurse Crane, but not your own Mary. What have you done? Give me your blood, priest. Final thoughts are just to die for. Kiss me again, sweet brother.
Crush the leech, boys! He's mine! I'll take it! Please help me!
Abomination! Kinslayer! Kiss me again, sweet brother. Rest in peace, assassin! Give me your blood, priest. final thoughts are just to die for. You've killed me, brother! What have you done?
Steady, boys! We've got one of them! Oh my god! God help! Please help me!
Assassin! Rest in peace, monster. You've spared the precious Nurse Crane, but not your own Mary. What have you done? Give me your blood, priest. Final thoughts are just to die. You killed me, brother. Kiss me again, brother. Kinslayer!
Good evening, Mr. Swanborough.
Is it you, Dr. Reed? Please come in.
Tell me, how do you see the world these days?
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Goodbye, Mr. Swanborough. I'll leave you now.
What kind of gentleman pays visits to people at this late hour?
Sorry, sir. No admittance. Get our weapons ready! We found one! Fuck, it's fast! Fast, steady, boys! We've got one of them here! Watch yourselves! There's one of them! Inhuman! Kill it! They're lively! It's on to us!
You again. What do you want?
I know you're looking for an honest job, Booth. You're tired of this criminal life, aren't you?
It's just an idea. Edwina loves to run things so much. You can never really leave the gang. Wet boys for life, you know?
Have you heard anything about Sean Hampton's shelter?
That bastard's become something of a holy man these days. And someone should remind him who really rules the docks.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby. Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
Have you got any news about Sean Hampton's shelter?
As long as he keeps on helping the poor, I'll keep my boys at bay, even if he pisses them off.
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
Goodbye, Miss Cox. Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What? Ah, you're a doctor.
Is it true Sean Hampton saved your life?
Yep. The sad saint grabbed my soggy ass and brought me back to the pier after I fell into the canal. I was a wreck back then.
Were you thankful for what he did for you?
Sean Hampton really acted like a saint that day. But I suppose I'm just another lost soul who doesn't deserve to be saved.
Do you have any recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I still sleep over there from time to time. A sad saint still manages the place, even if he's a little bit more reclusive since he returned.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
Have you got any recent news on Sean Hampton's shelter?
It's still there, just like the turquoise turtle. That means there is still hope, somehow.
Sabrina seems very fond of you, Tom.
I like her too, I really do. I know I'm her boss, and I'm much older and all. But I like her, for sure.
What is bothering you, then?
Sabrina is an angry one. She wears it like a coat. I'm not sure I can make her shed that anger. It hurts to see her like that.
Tell me about your arrest for attempted murder, Tom.
I tried to kill someone. I got arrested. I paid my debt, and I have nothing to hide.
So you mean your customers know about your sordid past?
Yeah, why do you think this is the last pub open? I have nothing to hide, and I don't judge. That's a relief for many round here.
Do you think prison changed you? Made you a better man?
Oh, I don't know about that. All I brought back is bad memories, scars, and an ugly tattoo of a blue turtle.
But do you feel cleansed of your sins?
All I know is that I'm at peace. I did what I did, but I wouldn't do it again. Does that make me a better man? I don't know.
You attempted murder. Give me some details.
I was given an order to kill. I was an obedient gang member at the time, a proud wet boot boy.
Why did you join the gang?
Because I finally felt useful. Do you have any idea what it means to feel respected when the rest of the world shits on you?
So you were ordered to kill someone. What happened then?
I don't know if you can possibly understand, but I couldn't kill him. I just stood there pointing my gun. Someone saw me. I gave up.
Why couldn't you shoot?
My target was eating in that fancy restaurant with mirrors and music. He was eating, drinking, laughing. He was having such a good time. I hated him for his bottomless appetite and easy life of easy pickings. And then something happened.
You refused to kill him because you wanted to feel some of that happiness yourself. You empathized with him.
Exactly. The man was a bloody landlord who rented overpriced flats. A selfish bastard. But he made me smile. And I was no different from him.
Why not leave town and start a new life after you got out of jail?
I grew up in the East End. This is where my roots are. This is where I want to help others and die, eventually.
Don't you feel threatened, staying in such a violent and criminal neighborhood?
I've made peace with my violent past, Dr. Reed. I may not be a pacifist, but I'm not angry anymore.
Do you think the docks will always be a hive of scum and villainy?
As long as poverty and fear run the show, I don't see how it would change. Misery loves company, as they say.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
You still working at this hour? That's what I call dedication.
Have you heard anything about Sean Hampton's shelter?
I was told he caught a deadly disease but survived against all odds. Maybe he really is touched by grace.
Were you aware of Tom's past incarceration?
That's the first thing he told me when he offered me the job. He didn't want me hearing about his past from anyone else.
Did it surprise you to find out about it?
Not really. I was already aware of his reputation before I met him. That's why I came to the Turtle in the first place.
Most people would have run away because of that.
Not me. I thought a man like him could give me stability, you know? At least to some degree. And I wasn't mistaken.
Sabrina, tell me about your true feelings for your boss.
I love Tom. Not ashamed of it. Don't care if the customers joke about it neither.
Does Tom love you?
Yeah, but he's always reluctant to take it further. It's not because I'm younger, or because of the colour of my skin. He hates jokes about us.
Who's mocking you?
I mean, we're always together. People will talk, won't they?
Tell me, Sabrina, do you really believe Tom has renounced his life of crime?
He proves it to me every day he tells the truth. Tom Watts is a good man. One of the best.
And you don't think he might fall back into his sordid ways?
We can all do terrible things, Dr. Reed. And we never know what we're really capable of until it's too late.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
So few clients. But with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
You know, it would be nice to see each other outside the pub sometime.
This situation won't last forever. After, we'll have plenty of time. Down the future. Good thing. Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
Goodbye, Mr. Watts. Good evening, Mr. Woodbeat.
Good evening to you, my young doctor.
Do you have any recent news on Sean Hampton's shelter?
The man is still here. He's trying to help others despite the terrible things he endured. I'm impressed.
Goodbye, sir. It's locked, all right. Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Heard anything about Sean Hampton's shelter lately?
I heard that Mr. Hampton has been very sick, but now he's better.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care. Good evening, madam. It's Dr. Reed again. May I come in?
You best come back in the morning, Doctor.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. I've been nothing but... So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter, and no one will bat an eye.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope Factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no, my Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
Do you have any news about Sean Hampton's shelter?
I just heard the sad saint keeps on helping the sick and poor. God bless his soul.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself. It's locked.
I'm not sure the epidemic is what worries people most these days. Best grow eyes in the back of that head.
Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything recently about Sean Hampton's shelter?
I don't give a rat's ass about Sean Hampton, his shelter, or any of the losers who sleep there.
Goodbye, Mr. Fishburne.
Turn around, sir.
Good evening, young man.
There's no need to call me that, Dr. Reed.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
He keeps investing time helping the poor and sick. Good for him. And for them.
Goodbye. Good evening, sir. I'm glad to see you safe.
I am not safe. I should never have come back here. My life is in danger. I know it.
You're much safer here than in that contaminated area.
Bullets kill people quicker than diseases and epidemics, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about this district?
The East End Docks only knows one rule. Dog eat dog, and blood calls for blood. The gang will have their revenge on me one way or another.
What can you tell me about the locals?
Most people would say that Sean Hampton and Tom Watts are good men who try to sort things out. But for me, the real boss around there was my best friend, Jack Gillingham.
Jack Gillingham, you say?
Everyone round there knew Jack. He was a rock. A mountain, even. He feared nothing.
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
I heard he kept on helping people, but I tried to stay away from his shelter. I don't feel safe there.
Your friend Jack has something to do with you fleeing to the contaminated area where I found you. I want to know more.
Jack is dead. That's all you need to know. Dead because of me. So much violence. So much sorrow. All of that because I refused to be insulted again.
No man can predict the exact outcome of his actions. It's the curse we have to live with. We can only gamble and do what we think is best.
Perhaps you're right. The district was doomed before I was born. But I cannot stop myself thinking that Jack died for me.
Why do you say that?
After I killed that gang member, the Wet Boot Boy suspected Jack. And being loyal and all, he did not refute the accusation.
The death of your friend has affected you deeply, hasn't it?
Jack Gillingham was the real deal. He believed we could change the world if we were united and focused enough. And he brought out the best in each of us.
You're right. He died to save you. That alone gives me an idea of the kind of man he was.
He was the bravest. And no one dares to say openly that he got killed by those bastards.
Your friend's plan was audacious, if not reckless. No one stands up by themselves to a gang like the Wet Boot Boys.
How dare you say that? You never met him.
You are not going to spend the rest of your life hiding, Rodney. What are you planning to do?
Honestly, I have no idea. How am I supposed to live while so many have suffered because of me?
Only you can answer that question. But one thing is certain. Since you owe Jack your life, I think it's fair to live it in a way that would make him proud.
That's the kind of thing Jack could have said, Dr. Reed. Thank you for that. I believe you're a good guy too.
Goodbye, Mr. Grader. Take care. Good evening, Miss Gillingham. May I come in?
Of course, of course. So, Dr. Tippets, what brings you back here? We haven't talked in quite some time.
Have you heard anything recently concerning Sean Hampton's shelter?
I've never heard that name before, I'm afraid.
Tell me, Enid, why do you feel guilty about your son?
I know I'm a burden to my Jack. I know my mind and my thoughts are drifting away. I'm so sorry. I can't help it.
This is not your doing, Miss Gillingham. You do not have to apologize for your condition.
Of course I don't, Doctor. I've done nothing wrong, I swear it. What exactly are we talking about here?
Goodbye, Miss Gillingham.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Lottie, tell me about the death of your mother.
Giselle killed her. Plain and simple. She killed her with her daily whims, her laziness, and her complaints.
That's quite a statement. You can't kill someone because you're fickle.
Mother was very ill, but I forgave Giselle. What I couldn't stand was how she cried at her funeral like she was the one left alone.
Giselle is the only family you have left. Don't you think it's time you forgave her?
Sometimes words are harder to forgive than acts, Dr. Reed.
Perhaps your sister is not as tough as you are.
I know that, and I don't blame her. It just makes me sad that my own sister is the person I understand the least.
Lottie, tell me about the Wet Boot Boys. I know they've threatened you.
Edwina Cox wanted me to provide her with information about Mr. Hampton's resources. I refused.
Is that not dangerous?
Fuck them and their lies. They claim they protect the interests of the neighborhood, but they are just greedy parasites like all the rest.
I respect your courage, Miss Paxton, and I hope life will never wear you down.
Dr. Reed, you know how to make a girl blush. I am glad you came to the docks, whatever your real reasons are.
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter? Goodbye, Miss Paxton. is despicable.
Have you found the answers you were looking for, young Ekon?
There is too much left unanswered. So many questions.
Get to know us, spend time with us, and I may be willing to answer more questions.
What manner of creature is Harriet? She is different from everyone else.
I really don't know. I'm not even certain she's a skull. I've no idea as to what blood made her.
What is a skull, in fact, in your honest opinion?
The progeny of a vampire, disavowed by her maker. Perhaps a fruitless branch of a noble tree. A word used to enslave us. I cannot say.
You mentioned that vampire blood has tremendous potency. You believe it to be stronger than your own?
The vampire's sweet blood. That rich, dark wine that we crave. For it made us, and it can sustain us.
I thank you for your time, madam. I must go back to Hampton now.
Your kindness has been ample payment, Ekon. To protect us, I'll close the access to our hideout, but you can use our shortcut to reach Mr. Hampton's shelter. Just follow the arrows.
Thank you, old Bridget. I hope we'll meet again.
We're at your mercy. Will you end us?
No more questions, Dr. Reed.
It's locked, all right.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Welcome back to my humble shelter, Dr. Reed. Are you here to subdue me again?
No, Sean. I just came by to see how you are.
I feel all right. Why'd you ask?
Are you still feeding on corpses?
No. It's almost as though the blood you forced me to drink has provided me eternal satisfaction.
How are things in your shelter? Between the mortals and the immortals, I mean.
Even if we're all children of God, I've always maintained a strict frontier between the two communities.
What do you fear?
A few years ago, a Skal decided to pay a nocturnal visit to my sleeping customers. He got caught licking their necks in the dark. Since then, I have added a lock to the door.
What if food became scarce? Wouldn't the immortals in your flock be tempted to feed on the living? Wouldn't you?
The Skals can feed on the dead, Doctor. And until Judgment Day, mortals will continue dying.
How is the sanitary situation in this part of town?
I think it's acceptable. Fewer cases of sickness recently. I thank the Lord for his mercy.
Farewell, Sean. Take good care of your flock. And of yourself.
You again? What do you want?
Do you have recent news of Sean Hampton's shelter?
The place is all right, I suppose. The sad saint is still the same. Except for that awful skin disease he recently got.
Giselle, tell me about the death of your mother.
After our father died, Mother worked so hard she made herself sick. We spent all the money we had on useless drugs and doctors. It was hell.
Hell? What do you mean?
The three of us were exhausted and desperate. And when I'm desperate, I tend to get angry. And I'm hard to live with. Lottie said I killed Mother.
You should talk to your sister. Whatever happened when your mother died, the truth lies somewhere between your two versions.
I don't want to talk about that. It was years ago. We Paxton sisters are tough. We don't apologize.
May I ask what you do for a living?
I'm killing myself scraping for a living. And you? Have you ever had to struggle in your entire life?
Giselle, I know you sleep at Sean Hampton's shelter. What can you tell me about him?
He provided a roof for me and my sister. I am grateful, of course. But he gives me the creeps.
Why is that?
He's always sad. Like he's about to cry. He's always asking us to get closer to God. To give ourselves to the Lord. Creepy.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
stupid beast!
Stay back, please.
It's an eat! Kill it! Shit! You'll pay for that!
Good evening, Mr. Fishburne.
Yeah, yeah.
You tricked me good, Doctor. Tell me, who will take the blame for your murders now that I'm dead?
Good evening, Mrs. Fishburne. May I come in, please?
Of course. Dr. Reed. I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep.
It's
I've been
locked.
nothing but worry. What can I do for you, Dr. Reed?
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child. And he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne. But there can be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
Science has only just begun to investigate the mysteries of the human mind. Currently, we have more assumptions than fact.
There ain't no hope then. Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
Your son's gone way beyond simply bullying people. He has a taste for blood, and you know it, don't you, Stella?
One night, he told me straight up, in his own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. A guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his, demons.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you protect Seymour?
I can't report my own son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
I'm convinced you raised Seymour the best you could. You're not responsible for what he became.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
Please don't stay too long, sir.